Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channels and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes to continue hustling. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Recover, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue BA, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, The Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 674 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we have the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Carlos Sayas. And if you want to hear us talk TIC and how to inspire the profession, stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Dr. Carlos Sayas coming on with me. He was on episode 332, so if you guys want to go check out our previous episode that we did together, please do that. Use that for reference for this episode, which is episode 674.
Wow.
And yeah, right? And welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much for counting on us and inviting me here. As soon as I saw that invitation, I said yes.
Yeah, to me, it's building this global community of chiropractic with stories and brand that everybody has access to, which I think is a very, very important thing. And I've gotten to know you over the past handful of years, and I love what you do for chiropractors. I love your island of Puerto Rico. I love that when I come down there, we connect and we just go spend time together as friends. So thank you for that too.
Thank you, Jim. We love when you came to we had a great time in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, so I'm going to let everyone know our big why we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle, and then we're going to do a TikTok. We're going to talk about all things chiropractic, things that we love today, and the mission that we have and the mission that you have and how we can help each other.
My apologies, Jim. I'm messing up here with the Facebook. Now I'm here. Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. And then I know that we want to inspire the profession too. We want to inspire the younger generation of chiropractors to know that they're not alone. Yes. And that they have resources and that we can have more fun as a profession rather than looking at all the problems. We can look at how we can connect the future better and have fun in practice. Because if you're not doing that, what are you doing, right?
Yeah. Along that line, this week, we've had a young Puerto Rican student from Sherman doing his hours, his PMOE on our office. And we were having a deep conversation about young practice and so on. Maybe we can talk about that during this interview.
Sure. Well, I'm going to let people know the purpose behind the show. We believe in freedom of speech. I know that there's been a lot of problems over the past handful of years with people being censored and shadow banned and traffic throttled. We've experienced that too. We'd never do that to you guys. We also believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. If you guys don't know where to go for that, find a chiropractor in your area and ask them these big questions about taking care of you and your family. Philosophically speaking, we do protect BJ Palmer's sacred trust. It's his last written words. If you want to know more about chiropractic, click on that link in the show notes. You're going to understand chiropractic from a whole different perspective than what you do right now, I guarantee you. And then we do support and believe in subluxation-based chiropractic. I know I shouldn't have to say that, but we do. They're taking this lexicon and this language out of the chiropractic colleges. So if you know a student that needs, if you know a student that needs to get the big idea, please share the show with them. If you have a colleague that needs to understand chiropractic better, please share the show with them. I know that that's a big ask, but these people definitely need to understand. I just was at Palmer College last weekend, and they told me how the students, I was at the fraternity house, they told me how challenging it is for them to get philosophy now. Wow. This is at the Fountainhead. So please share the show. And they need to understand subluxation. They need to understand innate intelligence and universal intelligence. And we do believe that when man or woman, the physical, gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual, which creates educated intelligence. There's a big idea out there, and that's called chiropractic. This is episode 674. Dr. Carlos, welcome to the show again.
Thank you for having me, Jim. Very happy and proud.
Yeah, there's just so much to go over, but I know that you wanted to talk about our mission together and helping more chiropractors. I know I've read your bio here. It's very, very amazing. I know you have the clinics down there in San Juan. I know that you said before we jumped on this interview that you're back in practice now after 15-year hiatus.
Years.
Let's talk about that. I think that would inspire some people, because I'm sure there's a lot of chiropractors out there that have associates and they're just trying to be business people and they're not adjusting people. So what is it like for you to take that break and come back to practice?
Well, you know what? We've been in practice now for 15 years. 30 years. I'm sorry. It is 30 years today that we've been in practice for. 15 years ago, our clinics have grown enough to where it was required of me to manage the clinic, the doctors, and take care of their training. And as you know, I speak internationally, mostly in the Spanish-speaking chiropractic world, even though I'm fully bilingual. And that consumed a lot of my time, and I decided to step out from private practice. I was not serving my patients as well as my associates. I had reached that point. So went on for 15 years, and we had situations that arise in chiropractic practice, and we literally in 6 months we have 4 associates quit, and the last associate, there was no one to replace him until next January, and this was in July. So it was there was no thinking about it. I had to step in. It was a little hard at the beginning, but as soon as I step into that first day of practice with patients again, I fell more in love with chiropractic than I've ever been in love with chiropractic. My wife loves it. She tells me that it's the first time in 15 years that I come back to the house smiling. Imagine. Why not? I'm healing people. I'm talking to people about chiropractic and seeing them regain their health. I see them talk to their family and friends about it and refer people to practice. I mean, what can be wrong with that? And I'm having the professional time of my life.
Well, to me, it's really inspiring to hear that. And I think that there's going to be a lot of people that will listen to this show over the years, and they might feel that burned out, or why did I decide to just manage practice instead of working in the practice? So I think it might give some people some ideas to say, look, I can do it different, and it doesn't have to be the way that it is right now. And I can fall back in love with taking care of patients. And I think that that's a real, if somebody's not, in practice right now and they're thinking about getting back in practice, this is a good episode for them to listen to fall in love with chiropractic.
Yeah, I like to add that I never fell out of love on chiropractic.
Okay.
I was just working on other. I was working on chiropractic from another angle, but and it happened to me then. When the time came to step out from taking care of patients, the goal was to manage. I had not lost interest in caring for patients. I was just too focused on management and training and the seminars. And I know a lot of docs are in that situation right now, seeing patients. And I heard this from my mentors many times. Many of them said, Carlos, you can do both, but you don't need to be in the office 5 days a week. You can go to the office a day and a half, 2 days, and continue doing everything else. I should have listened to them. I should have listened to them. Actually, in January, we have a new doc that we've contracted, And my plan is to stay in the office. I'm not gonna, for now, I'm not gonna go back to management. I'm gonna continue taking care of patients actively, support that doctor through his professional development, and if professional life forces me to manage again, then I'll have to, because this is what we do, But if not, I'll be there with the patient, loving it.
Well, there's a little story I'm going to share with you. I went up to do the work I do in Alaska this summer, and I brought a young chiropractic student with me, and she's actually on her way to Alaska right now. She's going to be working with a doc that's selling his practice to her, and she just finished up her boards, and she's driving right now today to Alaska to go mentor with him and take his practice over. He's been practicing over, I think, 43 years.
Wow.
Like, think about the dream for him to have a young chiropractor come into his practice that he built and be able to pass it on, like a really healthy pass on, not because he was sick, not because he was injured, not because of anything other than the fact that, like, it's time.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool that he's going to be able to pass on everything to this young chiropractor, and they're going to be able to learn from him. Like, I was adjusted by this guy, and I'll tell you, man, just the ability for him to take care of me that one time, like, one of the best set of hands I've ever experienced.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So it's cool.
Practice for 40 what years?
I think 43 years.
Wow.
Yeah, he went to Palmer College and went right up to Alaska. I think he was like licensed like number like 30 in the state.
Wow.
Anyways, it's just really cool. Like, what you're doing is you can bring in a young chiropractor and teach them, and they can work with you, and they can learn the business principles. They can learn the table talk. They can learn the plans that you lay out for people. They can learn how to, like, work with somebody that's been doing it for many years, which I think is a huge gift. So that guy that's coming in January, I think, is getting a really good deal to be able to work side by side with you.
Thank you for your words, Jim. One thing that associateship provides, it's a safety net. It's that, like, if you go up on a high wire by yourself on private practice without associateship and you fall, there's no safety net. You're going to slam against the ground. If you work for somebody else, there's a safety net that always takes care of you, assuming you're working at the right office. Assuming you are working at the right office.
So let's go back to students again. I think it's a really important conversation we can have. And how do you recommend chiropractic students to find a mentor? How do you recommend chiropractic students to find a good office to work at?
You know what? That's a great question. I have definitions for things. Like, for example, for me, a mentor, it's somebody that you learn from, but probably not necessarily there's money exchange. You just respect this person. He's a senior to you. You listen to him. But because there's no monetary exchange, there's really no responsibility one side or the other. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
You can hire a coach, and a coach, there is an agreement. There's monetary exchange. There's energy exchange. Then there are responsibilities on both sides of the table. And then you can work for somebody else. And there's money exchange, and there's responsibility on both sides of the table. Mm-hmm. So I define it that way. Now, I think the best thing a chiropractic student can do is just visit chiropractors during their vacations or during their time at school. Just visit them. Visit people that have been at least 5 years or more in practice. What I see happening often is that the young student goes back home to visit chiropractors, but they're visiting his friends that have only been out of school for a year or two. Visit people of experience. When you are at seminar, reach out and talk to the doctors that have 5+ years of experience at that seminar. If they're not approachable, they're not the right person to talk to. I've known some of the most successful chiropractors in the world, and they have always been approachable. Those that are not approachable, most of the time they just look successful. They're not. I mean, why not? Why will somebody not enjoy talking about their experiences with a young student or a young doc? So my first recommendation will be to reach out. You simply flat out come out and talk to senior doctors at seminars, visit them at their offices, ask to shadow. Don't have any hesitation. Call and ask, can I come in and shadow? Write them a message in Messenger. Can I come in and shadow? If they don't answer that message back in 2 days, they're not the right person to go shadow. Forget about it. Next, go right to the next doctor. The doctors that are proud of what they do and they have really strong practices are proud of their practices and want to show off. And they love to bring young impressionable doctors in to show off what they do. Hopefully that will get into somebody's head.
Yeah, and for me to build on top of that, I honestly, something I've done over the past couple of years is I found people that were older than me and said, hey, let's create a weekly mastermind call for 30 minutes. There's 4 of us that jump on it every week. It's at 12:30 on Wednesday, so they all can jump onto the call. And we go through and say things that are going great. We say things that aren't going great. We keep each other accountable for one thing each week. And then we praise, whether it be God or we praise, whether it be someone in our life that made an impact. But we lift each other up. And I'll tell you, just by that one thing that I do weekly, we laugh more than anything else I do all week. And you realize that life isn't so bad when you listen to the stuff that other people are dealing with. So it's a good way for us to network and to learn from each other, but also it's important to have other people be proud of you. Yeah. And to share your successes with people that they can be like, dang, you just got how many speaking engagements? Wow. You just saw how many new ones this week, or whatever it might be. But I think it's important to build that mastermind kind of connection. So anybody that's listening to this, reach out to 3 to 5 people and say, hey, let's do a 30-minute check-in weekly. And then you build referrals and you build network, and you're exchanging your time and connection and relationships. And it's not a money thing. It's a time commitment thing. And then you can build that friendship with other people. So I think on top of what you said, not only going and shadowing these offices and learning and getting, influenced by somebody else's methods, but you can also go in and, build a relationship outside of, going and shadowing, and find colleagues and friends and mentors and say, hey, I want to do something really unique. I want to create a weekly call. Would you like to do that? And just test it out. We've had rotation of 4 to 5 other people that have been on these calls with us that aren't there anymore. But I think that if you just keep it going, it's really cool. And that's a good resource for people to do.
I'd like to add something to that recommendation. And it's reminded to me by I do a live show it's Mondays, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. Eastern. I call it, it's in Spanish. It's called Descubriendo en la Mañana, Discovering in the Morning. And as I drive to work, I have a half-hour drive to work. I do a live show as I drive to work, and I just get inspired with whatever happened at the office the day before, and I share it with the colleagues. And I do it from my platforms called Chiro Hub, written with a Q, Quirohub, Chiro Hub. It is in Spanish because that's my thing. Now, I was talking about having a technical approach to chiropractic or a professional approach to chiropractic. And as a definition, a professional is somebody that is not somebody that gets paid for what they do. A professional is somebody that what they do requires for them to be in a continued improvement process. like doctors. You're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you are an accountant, you're a professional because what you do requires for you to continue be improving. A technician is different. A technician, once he knows step 1, step 2, and step 3, there's nothing new to learn. So that's the technician and that's the professional. Now, you can have a technician's approach to your chiropractic school, or you could have a professional approach to your chiropractic school. You don't need to be outside of school to have a professional mindset. If you're the guy that goes to chiropractic school and just takes the courses that you're giving and only do the clinic work that you're required, most likely you're having a technical approach to your chiropractic school. But if you're the guy that is going to seminars, if you're the guy that is going to mission trips in Colombia, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, whenever they have them, if you're the guy that is continuously learning techniques and improving them, you are having a professional approach to your chiropractic school. So one thing that I would strongly recommend to young doctors is to have a professional approach to their chiropractic school or schooling.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Excite Medical and the DRX 9000, Peach State Payments, Recover, Chiro HD, Softwave, Cool Blue BA, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, the Chiro Speaking Company, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. You can benefit from our full list of sponsors by visiting the sponsor page at chirohustle.com/sponsors. Links in the description. Now, let's hustle.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. And that's a great perspective for people to start to understand. Like, I can't tell you like how many times I'm at one of these big seminars that I go to and promote and work at, and I learn so much from these young students. Like, I'm the guy that's not the DC that's taking these kids out to lunch. I can't tell you how many times I've helped get a ticket to a student that wanted to go to one of these events and just poured back in. And those guys still stay in touch with me. Yeah. And now they're out doing great, and they benefited from having that connection and that friendship. So I think what you're saying is amazing. And I think everybody should try to bring the young ones up and to pour back into them, and I think that I see a lot of chiropractors actually doing that. So it's cool to see. And then who knows, maybe you open up the next clinic with these people,
Exactly. No doubt.
Maybe they like that stability, and they like the consistency in that relationship. And the next thing you know, they're coming to San Juan to practice.
Yes.
I think it's cool that professional style chiropractors are out there, and they're also, technician style chiropractors. It just depends on how do you want to develop into your professional career. So I know that you don't know this, and it's probably something that's hard for you to answer, but Latin America is growing. Obviously, that's where we met each other in Mexico.
Amazing.
Yeah. What is your take on Latin America, how it's growing with chiropractic, and where do you see things going?
It's so dynamic. I love it. The Mexico scene, the Mexico chiropractic scene has its own set of rules. The Argentina has its own set of rules. The Chilean has its own set of rules. The Costa Rican, each country in Latin America is chiropractically totally different from the other in laws, rules, regulations, or lack thereof. which at times provides for rapid growth, of these professions. I love what's happening in Mexico. The 4 chiropractic schools. They're run by the government. Kids have access to the chiropractic education. They're young You know very well the Mexico crowd. They come out of high school at 17, 18 years of age, and they go straight into chiropractic school, and they're graduating with 18, 23, 24. They're already licensed chiropractors in Mexico.
Which is beautiful. It's a beautiful transition, right, from high school into becoming a doctor. Like, how amazing is that? And then I think a lot of these Latin-speaking cultures, they're actually hiring out these chiropractors that finish in Mexico to go practice in Peru.
Yes.
To go practice in, Chile.
In Brazil and Chile.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't, in Chile is another story, but Colombia. I know some of my Mexican friends are practicing in Colombia, Ecuador. I have a great friend Mexican practicing in Ecuador now. It's amazing because actually they are highly valued because they have a formal academic chiropractic education, and they're Spanish speaking, and they're able to work in these countries because of being Mexicans. That's a great thing.
It's a beautiful thing when these kids can get out of college too without having all the debt that I see the counterparts in America with.
Yes.
I think it actually lets the chiropractor come right out of school and be profitable and have fun in practice and not have, this big monster on their back. And I think it's really cool to see how those young chiropractors are able to go out and practice vitalistic chiropractic. And they're able to open up a clinic with, minimal buy-in. They can just go find an office space and start practicing, which I think is, a real benefit to so many of these young DCs in Latin America. So I think what is going on with that future, how do you see, 10 years from now, how do you see the scene? Do you see there's more chiropractic colleges down in Latin America?
I think it's unavoidable. I think it's unavoidable for chiropractic to continue growing in Latin America. I find that the Latin American public has a more, I would say, vitalistic approach to health. Naturally, without being exposed to chiropractic, they naturally do. One, the other is that in the United States, there's all these preconceptions and prejudice about chiropractors that do not exist in Latin America. When a doctor starts practicing chiropractic in many of the countries in Latin America, they're just regarded by their title. And they are able to provide without some of the prejudice that there will be. It's not that way in every country, but it is. So that again helps for fast expansion of the profession. And your program. You were saying your program is a subluxation-based program. So am I, a subluxation-based doctor, and I love the fact that what is rapidly growing in these countries is subluxation-based care. Yep.
And the thing I've noticed is that they're not afraid to learn new techniques.
Yes.
And they're not afraid to study philosophy. And they're not afraid to support each other.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a huge unity bond within the chiropractors in Mexico, that there's a lot of love for the other practitioners, and there's a lot of support for the profession. And there's a lot of knowledge that's being shared and exchanged. And that's why it's growing, because there's no scarcity mindset.
Yep.
And there's no lack of going into it. Like, if you get these people, I'm not going to get them, And I think that's a big takeaway for me, as what I've learned from, being friends with so many Latin American chiropractors, is this is an opportunity for people to support the profession and to bring it to new frontier. And I do believe that the future of chiropractic is in Latin America. I know that we've done a great job up here where I'm from in America for the past, 128 years of actually making the profession. Mm-hmm. But I think the professional explosion of health and the future of vitality is definitely with the Mexican chiropractic groups specifically because they can practice younger without the cumbersome debt.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes the profession a whole different place. Now what we need to do is figure out, Carlos, how we can take those chiropractors graduating from Mexico and get them to practice in America.
Yeah, obviously it's a whole different legal system, and there's so many rules and regulations in the United States that why can it not happen in the future, right? But it's just hard today.
Well, that's why I proposed it as what we can accomplish in 10 years.
Yeah.
Because I think that there is a lot that we can accomplish with bringing chiropractic with less debt to America.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be really cool for me to see in my lifetime, at least.
Yeah.
I guess at this point, is there? Let's share one more strategy for the chiropractic students. I think talking to them about building a practice and how you would, maybe give some advice to them to go into their local community and to connect once they finally get the place that they're in practice. What are some tips or strategies you would share with them?
I love that. Tip number 1: forget about the bathroom tile. Forget about the damn bathroom tile. Somebody's going to be saying, what the hell is he saying? But sometimes we get so caught up in the decoration of the office and the building of the new office and the new table and the color of the wall and the tile of the restroom that we forget that the practice has to be marketed 3 months before it opens. All of a sudden, the young dog, it's ready to open the practice. There it is. Open the door, turn on the air conditioner or the heater, and there's not one patient waiting to start care. I think that's the one of the biggest mistakes a young doc can do, because your biggest and greatest growth opportunity is when you open your practice. It's a lot easier to go on, and this is seasoned professionals will know I'm right on the buck, but a young doctor gets freaked out when I say this. It's a lot easier to go from 0 to 80 patients a day than to go from 40 patients a day to 80 patients a day. I'm going to say that again. It's a lot easier to go from 0 to 80 patients a day, office visits a day, than it is to go from 40 to 80 patients a day. It's just a capacity thing. It's just a capacity thing that might escape from our meeting today. But number 1 recommendation, forget about the bathroom tile. Yes, you have to pay attention to that, but don't take your eyes off the ball. 3 months before you open that office, you need to start marketing with a strategy. You're not going to go do a mall screening 3 months before when the office is not ready to receive people. Probably the screening will be something that you will do 2 or 3 weeks before you open the office, so they can come right in. But there will be other strategies that you will implement 3 months out. We open a new office. We evaluated 100 new patients in the first month of our new clinic in Bayamón. Why? Because we started a month and a half before. Okay, next. Build up. Don't forget about the basics. Today, we are so caught up in digital marketing, which is a great thing. I'm not saying that digital marketing is bad at any level. It is great, a great thing, but it doesn't beat human touch and human connection. Not yet. I'm not going to say it never will. I'm going to say not yet. So the cheapest way to grow our practice is to go out in the community and do a door knocking. Just knock on commercial doors, go right in, introduce yourself, hand out business cards, and just open yourself up for service. Tell them. Never be shy about that. business owners are business owners. They will love to receive you in their business and meet you and greet you and refer people to you. They'll love it. We don't have time to go today into the whole door knocking strategy. One thing I will say is that among different things that you want to achieve while door knocking, one, of course, is set up appointments, but it's not the most important. I'm going to share with you what the most important is. The biggest thing you're going to do when you go door knocking is at the end of the interaction with the business owner or the manager of the store or the employee of the McDonald's, whatever it is you're door knocking, is ask them, since you've been in business longer than I in this area, what do you recommend I do to grow my practice? And just strap on, because what you're gonna get is you're gonna get the opening door of, because the guy's wife is the principal of the high school. You're gonna get that the lady's husband is the pastor of the biggest church in town. You follow me? You follow what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying.
They're not gonna let you leave.
Exactly. Go in only to do appointments on the door knocking, you're gonna be disappointed at the end of the day.
Before you know it, they're getting you a cup of coffee and taking you to lunch.
Exactly. If you ask them, since you've been in practice, you've been in business longer than I, what would you recommend I do to grow my practice? Hang on. So that's one. I will do screenings as soon as possible. I'll connect with the opportunities in the local community and or pay for space. I love paying for space when it's a smart investment. The highest quality leads in our area we get, it's at the mall. People with money and time, where do they hang out? At the mall. That's where they are, at the mall. So we've set up in our business model. We set up 4 screenings a year at 2 individual shopping centers in our area. And that keeps us busy. Actually, this Thursday, we go into another screening from Thursday to Sunday. And we split the cost. We split the cost and the time with other friendly offices in the area. So it's doable. And then they get to do dinner talks as soon as possible. So if you follow that step, there's Octavio. There's Octavio saying 2 good friends on Facebook. I can see the comments. I love this app. I don't have this app yet. Hello, Octavio. And then you do door knocking. Number 1, you start marketing 3 months before you open practice. 1, 2, you do door knockings. 3, you do screenings. 4, you do dinner talks. You'll be seeing 60 patients a day in 3 months.
And when you do that, create a market.
You know how to convert. Let me be fair to everybody involved. If you know how to convert a prospect into a patient, which is a whole different game.
And when you're doing that grassroots work and you're starting to grow the practice, I think it would be smart for people to understand to create a marketing budget and to not just take in everything and spend everything, but to actually say, what do I do next?
Yeah. And
then kind of have a strategy for how do I connect with my local community? How do I connect with people now on the digital platforms? Yeah. And I think also a lot of the young kids that I see growing, they're doing really good stories on Instagram and on Facebook. And they're connecting with their community from that perspective of giving people to see who is this person and giving them a snapshot of like, what is this person into? How do they spend their time? What do they really believe in? And I think that that's a way that the clinic directors today are building connection, and people are then saying, hey, you do this thing called chiropractic. How do I do that? Yeah. So it's actually attraction marketing which I see going really well for that. I just don't have, me personally, I don't have the bandwidth to make those types of stories. It's never been something I wanted to do. So I create a podcast.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a good thing for people to know too, is play to your strengths.
Yeah.
You know, I get asked to speak at chiropractic conferences all the time now because I've interviewed the biggest leaders in this profession. You know, I get asked to go do work all over the place now because I've networked with the greatest business people in this profession. So whatever you want to accomplish, you have to call that group in and create your community around it. Mine just happens to be chiropractic. Anybody watching, it's going to be 7 miles around your practice, a 30-minute drive. You're going to have that type of an influence within that sector of your city. So you don't have to be international. You don't have to be global. You have to think very small, like what are the best things to do to grow my practice besides door knocking and screenings. After you've done enough of that, you should have the budget to go out and to hire a marketing company or an advisor or a coach. Yeah. And
on that line, Jim, very important, because sometimes we say things so lightly that we might I have fallen into giving not complete advice, and I'm very afraid of that. We're talking door knocking, we're talking screenings, we're talking dinner talks. They are very strategic events. You know, you don't just go out and do a dinner talk. You have to ask somebody who is a professional at teaching how to dinner talks, how to do it. So you do it right from the first time. You don't go out and just do a screening. You just don't rent space at the mall and go do a screenings. You need to ask advice from somebody like Jim, who's been doing the best and biggest screenings. And have, do you teach? And I know you do them for people. Do you teach people how to do screenings?
Of course. Yeah. I'd be crazy not to.
There you go. So there you have a master at teaching how to do screening. Do it right from the first time. Interestingly enough, if you know how to do a screening, you know how to do a door knocking. Same structure. Just instead of people walking through your booth, you go through the businesses. So it's very important that you actually study from somebody who's done this successfully, how you're going to do them. Don't reinvent the wheel. I think I am so proud. One of the things I'm most proud of in my career is that I've purchased 80% of my knowledge. 80% of my knowledge, 80% of what I teach in my seminars and platforms, I bought. I paid for it. I'm very proud for it. What I would have not been proud is to have spent 30 years to learn it by myself and reinvent the wheel. To me, in my book, there's no pride in that.
The quickest way to get somewhere is ask somebody that knows where they're going.
Thank you. You said it in just simple and powerful words. Thank you, Jim.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about the interview space is I get a chance to observe and listen. And I do believe that there's a beautiful future for what we're doing together. I do believe that chiropractic is the answer that everybody's looking for. They just don't know what's called chiropractic. Mm-hmm. And I think there will be a time where everybody wakes up and realizes that chiropractors are the people that are going to help them and connect with them and build a community. And I think that the chiropractor that's listening to this, they're going to realize that going out to your community is the best place to be if you want to grow your practice. And ask these other business owners that question, what would you do to grow my business if you were me? And then they're going to open up so many different possibilities. They're going to say, join the Chamber of Commerce. Actually, you can come here and do a talk to my employees. Yes. And those are the things that will happen when you ask advice from people that are in your community and say, I'm a very inspired individual. I'm opening up a practice down here. What would you say would be the number one thing that I should do to help build my business? And then they're all going to be like, wow, this person is very approachable. They want to help people, and I should go too. Yeah. So, but Carlos, thank you for being our guest today. Your episode 674. Is there anything I didn't ask that you wanted to finish up with?
No. Just have a professional approach to your chiropractic school. And I should not say that you should have a professional approach to your chiropractic career, because that should be evident. But have a professional approach to your chiropractic school. Attend seminars, visit senior chiropractors, approach senior chiropractors at seminars, call them and visit them. And it's very simple. Who you're going to visit? The one that welcomes you. Because if they don't welcome you, they're not the right person. Run away. Run away if they're not approachable. That's the note. But you hang out with the best and greatest, Jim, and you know the best and greatest are always approachable. If they really are the best and greatest.
Yeah, and anybody that has not taken my invitation to jump on this show, I know where they stand.
Yes. There you go.
and it's not with me.
There you go.
So if people want to work with you or learn more about you, send them to chiropractico.com.
We got several websites. We got one website, which is chiropractico.com. Chiropractico.com is my baby. I'll say this. I hope that I'm wrong. I'm hoping that somebody will listen to this and write to me and tell me that I'm wrong. I'm going to say chiropractico.com is the only, I'm going to repeat, it's the only public awareness website in chiropractic. The only. Carlos, but I do public awareness. No. As soon as you mention your name, your practice name, or your phone number, it's not public awareness. It's marketing. Chiropractico.com does pure public awareness for the Spanish-speaking community. It is the word chiropractor in Spanish, chiropractico.com. That's our website. It's an office locator and knowledge source. We do digital, we do both. We do public awareness campaigns in the areas that we have clients in for the Hispanic market, and then we retarget with marketing that audience. But we don't do broadcast discounts to the community, because as you know, they work for a little bit of time and then they drop out in results. We create our own clientele. How? We do it through public awareness. Then people that have engaged with our public awareness efforts, then we remarket our clients' practices to this audience. So that's chiropractico.com. It's free to be listed. You can go into the site and just find the button to be listed for free, and you feel free to list your practice if you are a licensed chiropractor in the United States. In Latin America, then we one thing we do and provide is we screen who gets listed in chiropractico.com, and we screen them according to the laws of the country. You know, whatever is legal in that country, then we'll list. If not, they will not be listed. That's chiropractico.com. And then there's Chiro Hub, spelled with a Q, Q-U-I in Spanish and H-U-B in English. Chiro Hub, that's where I do my interviews, and I share my knowledge, and I advertise our seminars, and through it, I help get information out in the community about other events. You know, anything that anybody that wants to reach out. Right now, we're doing the digital marketing for the 2025 Berkshire in Mexico City, in Polanco. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2024. You were there. We met there in 2024. That was beyond expectation, the level of success. And we're shooting for it to be even better in Polanco in 2025. So we just help chiropractors develop their we just help chiropractors that teach chiropractors reach out more chiropractors. That's what we do. That's what we do about Chiro Hub. Chiro Hub is for professional chiropractors. Chiropractico.com is for the general public.
Well, Dr. Carlos, such an honor, man. It's so great to always connect with you. I want to be with you more frequently, and I'll make sure that I make an effort to make it to the Berkshires in Mexico City in 25. And please check out his websites as he mentioned them to you, the Chiro Hub and the chiropractico.com. And I just wanted to say thank you once more for being my guest today on episode 674.
Wow, beautiful. Love it. And thank you, Jim. So proud and happy to receive your invitation. I was super excited when that came in.
Well, if it's good, we'll do it again, right?
Yes,
Well, have a beautiful night down there in San Juan. And I'm going to close out like I always do, telling everybody, you're just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys in the next interview. Bye for now.
Thank you, Jim. Be well.
See you.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.